Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of PinForge. Thank you all for joining us today. For those of you who are here with us, for those of you joining late, we hope you find this session valuable and you might learn something, take away something, or you just enjoy being part of the journey with us. So, with that, just to kind of start us off, we have, if you notice, changed the stream layout just a little bit because we were trying using a different collaboration software. This time we're using Teams. Before we were using a different software that was giving us a little bit of issues with collaboration. So this should hopefully enable us to talk to each other better. The experience is better on not only our end, but for you as a viewer, hopefully. If you have any issues at any time with audio or video, please put it in chat and let us know, and we'll do our best to fix it as soon as possible. So, with that being said, welcome back, everybody. How is everybody doing? Doing good?
Doing well. It's a Monday.
Doing great.
Yeah, it is
Finally
a Monday.
made it.
Exactly. Yeah, I am off this week, which makes my week even better.
Oh, nice.
And I'm sure Aaron's
I went
super
through-
jealous because he works every hour every day.
Like all the time. Like it's all the time.
I went through a wonderful ISO audit all day today. So
Oh, fun.
God.
Fun.
I sat in the hospital for half a day. It was sweet.
Not only half a day, but then you also got nothing out of it, which is great. So great.
That's why I love pinball. I always get something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And Alex, how's your life going? Everything going good with the new job and stuff?
Yeah, it's good. I sort of talked to my manager, so I'll just take the calls in the future, just at the end of the day at the office. It'll be a little bit more chill.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
But
Nice.
I'm home right now, so I've got my whiskey right here too. So
Cheers.
trade-offs.
Put one
Solid.
in the office.
We have some booze there somewhere, but
Exactly. Well, I gotta love it. Well, I think what we're gonna do today, and I am not prepared at all, is continue where we left off last session with our Miro boards. Let me bring that up in my other screen here and log in.
So between last session and this session, we've taken a bunch of ideas from each person's Miro boards and tried to distill them into a singular vision. One of the things that has divided us is flipper position. Left upper flipper or right upper flipper, as that controls a lot of the geometry.
let's
And
do
as
a
we go through this stuff, guys, remember we're doing this for you. So if you want to see something different, if you have questions, if you want us to go over something, or if you want us to just skip over something, let us know. You know, we're here for you. We want to make sure that you're learning. We want to make sure that you're having fun. So just keep the chat going.
Dead
Yep.
center flipper. Straight down the middle flipper.
Yeah.
Nothing but flippers on the left and right side, and one drop target in the middle.
Flip flop flipper. Normalize it.
Perfect. Okay, I have the Miro open. Give me one more second.
You'll have to bear with us a little bit tonight, guys. As stated, we did switch our meeting software a little bit. As such, we're still learning a little bit. It'll get better over time.
Yeah, so one of the things we switched out, or that we did between last session and this session, is also a little bit of VPX, so you'll see that later as well.
Okay, I am ready to switch over to the Miro board. So let me give that a try. And man, my internet is something's going on with it. So hopefully it's okay for the viewers, but my dropped frames are at like 6.5% for some reason. But if it's bad, thanks for bearing with us. There's not a whole lot that I can do to address that really when it comes to my internet provider. Okay, so this is the Miro. For you guys on the call with us, if you want to prioritize that video, if you need to see it, feel free to. Or if you want to hop in the board and mess around, do that as well. So I think, let me go back to what we're going. So we'll start off by going through each of our layouts and everyone kind of talk to their ideas. We'll go through one by one and talk about our ideas for how we wanted to implement different aspects that each of the users wanted in their game. And whether or not you have something to talk about visually is okay. We can just talk through your ideas without having it sketched. That's fine, because I see Aaron has done a lot on his.
Somebody just keeps like vandalizing it all the time. I go in inspired with an idea, and then it's like, oh, I got to clean this thing up, and then I'm like, I'm tired.
Okay, so I'll start with mine since it's first, and then we'll go from left to right. It's not because I'm the best Kyle. It's because I am the last and worst Kyle. The better Kyle.
I think actually
you're
Kyle number 1 now.
Only because of order.
Yeah.
Okay, so
alphabetical order.
Yeah, alphabetical order. Why not? Looks like my internet's better again. So yay. Okay, so regarding my layout, so I had a few ideas that I kind of wanted to implement from my previous homebrew. I'm a big fan of power lanes and crossing shots. And one of Ernie's requests was to put some sort of a crossing shot in this game as well. Kyle's request being a Jagoff kickback. So I tried to find a fun way that we could incorporate many of those into one shot to help conserve space for other fun shots too. So if you look off of the upper left flipper on mine, I have a shot with the brown dotted line that goes up into a Jagoff style kicker. And then the kicker then uses the profile of the ball rail here to then launch it back down into a power lane. And over the course of the last few days, I was messing around in VPX, seeing if this was possible geometry-wise, and if it was possible from a physics standpoint with the angle of the playfield. And it turns out that it is, and it's really cool. It kicks back, and you're just like on the back of your heels, like you don't even expect it when you hit it. So I think that'll be a really fun kind of implementation of that. The other thing that I was toying around with on the lower right side of mine was doing some sort of like a captive lock mech, but that kind of morphed into, I would rather see that turn into like another flowy power lane shot if possible. So again, in VPX, I modeled that as a shot that you can make with a drop target at the front. You can skill shot plunge into behind that drop target. I know one of the things that Alex has wanted was some cool skill shots off of the plunger. So I put a couple different ones in there, different drop points. One where you can lock it behind the drop target entrance to that. One that you can stall it behind a up post on the far right side there. And we can see some of that later. I don't know if Ernie's prepared or not, but later on we can bring up the VPX and kind of just see a little visualization of it.
I have it ready.
Okay, so yeah, we can go into that later. Those are kind of the main elements that I tried to put into mine, keeping in mind the space that it would take for the ball lock truck mech that Moog has, as well as there was something else I was just going to talk about. Oh, the shooting star mech still in like the back orbit, something like what Jeff had drawn up on his. So that was my goal. Try to find ways to incorporate everybody's ideas and do it in a way that maybe you can combine them into some cool shots, and then allow more space for other feature shots as well.
I really like, Kyle, how you visualized that Jagoff kickback, and when we look at flow, how that ball exits that and goes into the power lane is super awesome. Can't wait for people to see VPX on that. I think you'll really understand what we're talking about once you see it. For those that don't know, VPX is visual pinball. It's not always the most accurate physics-wise, but it will give you a good visualization of ball movement. So we'll show you that later in the stream.
Yeah, I mean, from a physics perspective, it's good at showing like the flow of a shot. The feeds off of a shot are good, but the entrances aren't necessarily realistic. Like those minor deflections on an entrance and like the angle that you hit that entrance matters, and that's something that doesn't necessarily translate into a physical replication. Nick, go ahead.
I just wanted to say something before we get too far in. One thing that really helped me out to understand some of the shots is to tie in some of the shots to like what they mean to bootleggers and what they mean to the story we're trying to tell. I know like the Yagov kick is like a scary shot that might be like the mafia fighting back at us, or the feds shooting at us. And some of the other shots have different stories that they tell within our game here.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah,
what
Nick,
were
that's
some of the ideas that
good point.
you want to talk about how we integrate some of those shots? And maybe that's something we can each hit on as we go over each of our layouts.
That's why I brought it up now.
Okay, so regarding mine, I wanted my more aggressive shots, like the Yagov kicker, to be like the bad guys. So, like, if you shoot that shot, in my head, like, my vision for that shot is you shot at one of the mafia members, and maybe you hear, like, the sound of a bullet, like, ba-ting off of a piece of metal or something as it shoots back at you, like a little ricochet action. I think that would be a kind of a cool theme integration for that. And then on the lower right side, with that being like multiple skill shots underneath like a shooter lane ramp, my thoughts being that could be like a hideout or a speakeasy type situation that you don't really necessarily see it, but you can lock a ball in it, it's hidden behind a drop target, and it turns into a really fast, flowy shot when the drop target's down. So that's my thoughts there. Did I answer your question?
If it was my question, then yes.
Perfect. Okay, and then the other thing that I didn't put in my layout here is the horizontal spinning disc that was what Alex would like to see in this game as well. My thoughts for that, which I can probably just click this and drag it up here, is this would be kind of somewhere up in this area here, with like a barrel that's kind of tilted off axis, and it would still be centered on the disc, so the center of gravity is there and it spins nice. And the reason why my placement thoughts are for it to be up there is because if you take something like this and you put it like down here, then it becomes pretty obstructive for a majority of shots on your right side. And if you want people to have satisfaction when they hit a shot, you don't want a quarter or a third of your shots to always be blocked by posts on a horizontal disc. So my thoughts are try to make that disc placement more focused to impede a few shots, but not like a majority of one side of your playfield, right? So if we put that somewhere in the back here, where maybe it's in front of some drop targets that you have to complete to, lock a ball or whatever we do there, that's something where you can get more incidental hits on those drop targets by hitting that spinning disc. So there might be something that plays a little more in your favor by shooting for that spinning disc and not just a dissatisfying blocked shot. Any thoughts on my thoughts there with the horizontal displacement? I mean,
yeah, it's really tough to place the disc. The larger it gets, the more it gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking tucking it down in the right corner, far enough away where it doesn't block any of the critical shots might help. But and then we could like add the barrel to maybe one side to where it kind of spins to the bottom every time. It kind of lines up for specific shots.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
See, I'm opposite. I think it's cool blocking 2 shots, and depending on where it lands, you kind of choose between the 2. So it blocks one and not the other.
Yeah, when you look at Totan, for example, which in my mind is one of the greatest examples of that particular mech, it's not up in the upper third. It's somewhere between half and the upper third, in that little area in between. I think that does really well. But if you also look at the shots that are associated with that, a lot of the shots are up higher in that upper third. So you can plan and you can escape that kind of boundary. But it is something to certainly keep in mind as we develop.
Gotcha. Okay. I think that's enough time on me. Let's move along to Ernie. Ernie, do you want to talk through what may or may not be sketched here, or other thoughts that you haven't had time to sketch down?
No, we talked about the crossover shot. I think after playing the VPX version that Kyle put together, it is pretty fun to shoot on VPX. There is a Newton ball within that. I'd like to do something different with the Newton ball that is different than just a normal, you hit the ball and it throws the ball back. I have some ideas on that, but I don't know if it's possible or not. I'll have to pick Moog's brain. Maybe we can come up with some kind of cool... My original thought was like it would be cool to have a Newton ball that sends a ball up a spiral somehow. So like the
distillation
coils. But
okay,
I don't know how possible that is, because you have to have the transfer of energy, and it would have to be set up a certain way to be able to go up versus just back.
Well, and if you hit it, knock it back, and the first thing it's hitting is a very tight radius of a spiral, it might not have enough energy to make it up very far. So there might be some other ways that we can incorporate that where it gives the illusion of doing that, but I don't know.
And like a mushroom target where there's some lift to it. Maybe we can play on that a little bit.
Moog, go ahead. Do you have your hand raised?
Greek gods used the power ball to transfer from one side of the playfield to the other to change kind of how you play the game. If we use the power ball, that might help. But I do want to see a JP DNA ramp in here as kind of our distillery cooling stack.
Fair point. Anything else, Ernie, you wanted to discuss?
No, other than I don't have mine drawn here. I did a poor job at putting stuff down on here, but the power lane that you talked about, like crossover shot, I very much on board with that. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's one of those moments when it happens the first time. I mean, at least for me, when I'm playing a game and it does it, I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool. So
right.
I think some moments like that, hopefully we can throw in here.
Cool.
But, nope, I'm done.
All right, Aaron, what picture of a game is this?
I was just searching the internet real quick for like something to like contribute, and I found this. I'm kidding. So this is like a long time ago, back when I thought I was going to be able to be a pinball designer. I had been working on a game layout that's kind of evolved into a few different designs. Originally, it started off as like this Minecraft game I was doing, and then this shot here is when we started borrowing stuff from that design and was doing the Peanuts game. And I want to put this in because I'm more like these drawing tools. It's not my natural like creative process. So I'm more along the lines of like, let's just lay some stuff on a table. And I was trying to show like in this image here, I had used like some ramps that I had 3D printed. So that's what you see like on the left side, the white ones. And I had they were done in ABS, and you can like cut them up and give them some acetone and weld them into new shapes. So I was just starting to like fill up space. And then again, like I can remove like, let me just move this to the front real quick. So you can see like where my pop bumpers are there. It's just basically like foam core cut into a circle and put in place. And so anyways, that's what I had done here. So this was trying to translate what I'd been thinking in my head into this. And so you can see it's got the flipper there on the right side, right? Is that going with me? Yeah, there you go, on the right there. And then, but I thought, with seeing some of these other designs that everyone's been contributing, some of the stuff kind of reminded me of this design, which might be like a fun way to kind of bring this back. But the left side there on the lower left, there's this ramp up close. I think we borrowed it from like a Black Knight or like a Sorcerer or something like that. And it seems like it's ridiculous, but it later in the design, we'd gone a lot further with it. There's a playfield like up on it's right there on the wall right there. It's a cool shot that you can make on the left side, and it flowed up and then threw it right back down the ramp again real quick. So it's kind of this like figure eight sort of effect, because it merged in with the return lane from the upper left ramp. And so I'd kind of forgotten about that. And I was trying to remember when we were talking before about like what interesting idea did we want to bring in, and that was just something that like, it's one of those ideas of like, I have this piece of ramp sitting around, I set it on the play field, and it was like, I wonder if that would even work. And then in experimenting with the shooting, it actually did really work. And it was a kind of a fun accident. On the right side, by the upper right flipper here, there's a clear ramp that goes up. And I think I borrowed that from like a space station. My dad makes ramps, and so I always take all his ramp scraps. And so I'd kind of filled in this portion here that had been cut out. But the idea was that it would turn around and then drop in and roll back down to that upper flipper. The shooter lane shot out underneath it. And the little house thing here, that was the Snoopy. Hold on, let me grab it.
Oh, he's got a Snoopy house. Look at that.
So this is an example of like, I was describing the plan to somebody and drew a doodle, and then this gets mailed to me. So this was a little Snoopy house, and the idea was that the ball would lock inside of that, and it was on a servo. And so when you'd lock the 3 balls, then it would turn into like the Red Baron multi-ball. And so then on top was like the Red Baron, and then he's flying around and stuff like that. So like, but this is just an example of like homebrew people helping other homebrew people out, and that was a really cool thing. And then the last little bit I had up the middle there was like the 3 targets. In the Snoopy game, it was going to be the therapy desk, where like Lucy's there doing therapy and stuff like that. And so you shoot that enough, and it was the idea of being this little like, some kind of interactive or feedback and stuff like that. But anyways, this was what I made.
So does the launch lane go under the right ramp?
Yeah. In this picture, it's like under the right ramp here. Like I was borrowing ramp pieces, so it's kind of hard to see it. But the idea was that it was going to go in that right outer orbit. The wall was short enough that the ball would flow around right, but not full height wall, so that like we could get into that loop from the shooter lane. And so the way that would go up was go up around there, and then it basically kind of come up here, hit these targets here, and then drop into the pops and stuff down there.
Cool.
So yeah.
So that's kind of like a good example of your thought process and theme integration in each of these shots. I think that was neat, and that's something that we should apply to bootleggers as well. Is there needs to be meaning behind every shot, every target, and how does that translate artistically on the play field? How does that translate in code and player interaction, from sounds, lights? How do we do our best to do a good theme integration that tells the story and makes the player feel like they're part of it? Cool. Were there anything in this game that you think would be cool to put in bootleggers?
I mean, like, I would love to see it do anything. I mean, there was just a lot of like, I just have tons of like, oh, this would be cool. Like my excitement around designing pinball is more about a thing to make or an experience to create, less about like, I'm creating this whole world, so that's less my approach. I did think that like, I could see kind of like a little like Roadhouse-y kind of mech thing or something like that like could, like, I was looking at, I'm totally brain farting on names right now. The Hillbilly pinball machine, Dan, right? Is that
Fight or something like
David.
that?
David
Hillbilly
okay.
Elegy or whatever. No, wait.
Yeah.
is
No.
David Esner.
Yeah. And so he's making all these really cool little sculpts and things like that. So I almost pictured like, if there was an idea of some sort of like general container for like a roadhouse kind of thing or something like that. Like it's almost like the designers could regionally like, stylize it or something like that, But anyways.
We had a request because we were showing the Miro board. Someone wanted to see your Snoopy doghouse. Can you show that to camera again?
Well, let me do the full effect. Okay, so here we are in like Snoopy sleeping on top of it mode, and then you lock enough balls, and then it's the Red Baron mode. So there you go. So Mike O'Rourke made this for me, and then it's got a little spot for the balls to go inside there. So super cool.
That's cool.
Cool. Who's up
Hillbilly
next?
Brawl by David Eisner.
There you go.
That's it.
Hillbilly
Thank you.
Brawl,
Sweet.
not Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah, I think those
Yeah.
are two completely different things.
Yeah.
I think I said like, seeing what you make, you must make adorable Christmas villages. And then he starts posting pictures of like decorations. I'm like, okay, that tracks. Love this.
Kyle, do you
Yeah.
want to talk through your
Yeah.
vision on this playfield sketch?
So clearly mine is a work in progress, right? Apologies to the team. I was out of town last week. I just did not have time to
You're good.
craft what you guys have done. However, I have 3 things that I would like to mention. Number one, what I would like to do is take different elements of things that you guys have done that I like and basically foot stop that or a round of applause that. So Kyle's shot to the kicker down to the power lane, I think is spot on. I like the use of a mech that we've seen in new ways. And I can see that because I had a kicker in Friday 13th and it was just a kicker, like F-14, like Game of Thrones. It launches back at the player. I really like how Kyle has incorporated that shot, and I look forward to seeing that on VPX. Number 2, Ernie's layout. I like shots through the pops. I just love it. I like that little bit of danger, and I think there might be, and I think that the game should have at least one pop bumper, right? Pop bumpers is cool. So I'm a big proponent of, as we kind of develop this game, to have a little bit of everything, right? At least one drop, a couple of stand-ups, spinner, a pop, something that players can identify with, right? Used in interesting ways. So a shot through the pops to me is interesting, like the Iron Maiden shot through the pops. Love that. Speaking of Keith Elwin, skill shot, something. Oh my God. Sorry, I just saw the picture of Miro. Speaking of Elwin, I want to talk about skill shot. So what we're kind of working through is what type of designer we are, what type of player that I can't stop. Okay. Are we kind of a, layout and the code and theme can come later? Do we think about the code and the theme first before we start outlining the shots? Do we want moments? What is it you want? So before the player does anything, you have to launch the ball, and that entails a skill shot. So when I did Friday 13th and Big Trouble in Little China, it was a shot to the drops, and the drops would either, blank or they would kind of cycle through. We've seen that. That's been done. I will cite Jaws as a really good example of a game where you've got like 4 or 5 different paths to a skill shot. You can soft plunge to do a thing, you can hard plunge and do the thing, or you just launch and you forget about it, you don't care. I want the player, before they even flip a ball, when they've got the plunger, they have choices. They have a decision that they have to make. So I think that there's a way that we can incorporate something interesting before you even launch the ball. My favorite skill shot I'm gonna keep to myself because I'm gonna steal it for my next game. But my second favorite skill shot, I think, is with Jaws and all the different options available. So what we can litigate, what we can talk about is when you launch, do you want the ball to kind of do the standard orbit? Do you want it to careen into something in the game? Or what I would advocate for, and I can certainly map this out, which is what I said last week, but I didn't, is have something interesting right there as you launch with one-way gates, with a pop, with a rollover, something that will light up. So that's I think that the direction that I'm going, in addition to a picture of me cleaning up something on the floor in the middle of the flippers, there you go. Jeff, you're up.
Okay.
Jeff.
So a lot of my design after seeing the VPX, I'm not in love with. My only game I've made was very much a kind of mission critical thing, right? Like I had this mech. It was a unique mech. I wanted to put it in, and it worked for that game. But when I look at this game, there are a couple things that I do want to see in some way, shape, or form. The mech that I love and I think is pinball magic is the shooting star mech from Totan on the inlanes. I'd kind of put that in the back here with a ramp that would allow the ball to drop into the shooting star mech, kind of like a prison cell, being locked up for bootlegging. And then I really like the idea of having a return to the shooter lane, kind of going back to the hideout, right? Going back to square one and making it there and being able to shoot again. Like that conceptually for me is kind of a cool thing when we look at the theme. So I'm not going to be too long-winded about it. I like the shooting star mech as a jail cell. I like the possibility of returning to the shooter lane. Those are two things I really like. When I look at Moog's design or Nick's design here, we had kind of talked about a little bit, how do we incorporate a pop? And maybe we replace a slingshot with a pop. And I do think when we look at the Yegoff kickback and how it enters the power lane and the rest of the dynamics around that type of design, I really like that pop bumper in the left side there, kind of a la Rick and Morty. I think that'd be a good use of a pop bumper in the game. That's all I've got. On to you, Nick.
Thank you, Jeff. So the one thing I wanted in the game is a physical ball lock. Everyone knows a pinball is about 27 millimeters wide. So this truck is going to have roughly a 3-inch bed. It's going to be about 6 inches long and about 2 inches wide. But in terms of getting balls locked into it, hey Kyle, can you scroll to the bottom left corner of the Miro screen? I kind of had a few ideas for how we actually get balls into the truck.
This here or
keep left, more left.
left?
All the way left. There we go. So if you want to zoom in on this, yeah. So we have a truck, and I was thinking everyone wants Newton balls and they want to do something fun with them. What if we locked a ball behind a Newton ball, and then we were able to hit the ball that's locked from the Newton ball position up into the truck from there? And that would be fun.
That'd be cool. I think we can do that too with where the layout's headed.
I think there is some space.
Moog, I'm insanely jealous because I had been kind of thinking about something like that, and I'm glad that you A, brought it up, and B, I would love to see that in this game. I always thought it'd be super cool to have a ball somehow go behind that Newton ball, and then you whack the Newton ball, and that lock ball goes. So, dude, that's I love it.
Kyle's speakeasy Newton on the bottom right-hand side of the playfield really got me thinking about it. And I think if we could integrate this, it'd be a lot of fun. Instead of just like shooting straight into the truck every time, like that's how you kind of earn the shot, right? One thing to consider is if you don't clear that ball by the end of the game, it's kind of sitting there. So how do we get it out from the lock? Because it's sitting behind a Newton ball. Someone brought up like maybe a magnet we could do, or some type of kicker or something. We'll figure it out. But on top of locking the balls into the bed of the truck, I was thinking about adding some smaller like knockdown coils underneath the truck to kind of like make it like bounce back and forth. Like if you're hitting it, you're like, oh, I'm hitting a pothole or something, and potentially you could knock balls out of the truck to like steal locked balls. Like maybe the mafia is shooting us and we lose a barrel of bourbon on the way home or something.
That would be interesting.
What if you hit like a bumpy road? You know,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
You took the wrong road, and it may have been a shortcut, but it was rougher or something. You know,
And bullets or potholes, one or the other.
risk versus reward. You know, that's a big factor.
Yeah.
Kind of like it's Oregon Trail. Your will fell off.
So
I
think
do like
that-
the fact that we're trying to get to like one really cool mech in this game, and dude, Nick, your V8 engine is the top. So if the truck or some variant thereof that holds the ball, and it's like a dump truck where it lifts and the balls come out, or we use a coil or
Yeah.
drop or what, dude, I really think that's a great draw for sure.
Currently, I'm thinking about having a servo that drops the bed or the tailgate of the truck, to let the balls out, and it'll be on kind of a pitch or something. But yeah, the truck's gonna have headlights. It's gonna have like moving coils that will kind of like bump it around. It's gonna have the locking mechanism. Jeff, what's up?
You know, in thinking about the balls and going in the truck and that being whiskey barrels, it gives me the idea that every ball is a whiskey volume. And the longer it's on the playfield, the more volume of whiskey we move.
Okay.
So it'd be really cool to track that a little bit and really play off kind of that truck and the balls being whiskey or barrels and what we're doing with each and every thing that we move.
I like that. On top of getting ingredients for the whiskey, we have actual like whiskey yield.
Aaron, you raised your hand.
I just want to try using the button.
Oh,
No, I'm kidding. I really had something. Back to Jeff for a second. When you're talking about that shooting star mech, you know, being like a jail, I wonder if like we could abstract that a little bit, just being like you're caught, you know, whether that's like you got caught by like, you know, the mob, or you got caught by a bunch of like, you know, buffalo blocking the road. It's like a pause. Here's what happened, wah wah, and then carry on. You know, I think that might, because the idea of steering every narrative to getting stuck in jail, it kind of limits like the use of that in other places.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think when I say in jail, it's more in custody, right? Yeah. Like you are not moving in your traditional fashion.
You're captured, you know.
In this game of life, you're kind of fucked.
I think you had a good point, Jeff, where you said like it's a high risk shot. Like maybe if you knock down some mafia drops before you make the shot, then it's like clear. But if you don't like clear enough of the mafia members and you try to make that shot, they get you. We could like integrate it into the gameplay in certain ways that would be fun.
Yeah, some element of chance, right? Kind of like Oregon Trail, right? You cock and float, and you're not going to make it every time. Looks like Kyle is standing up.
That's why we brought the whiskey.
So just one thing before I want to keep us moving along so we can get to Alex and hopefully a little bit of VPX here before we run out of time. I just wanted to say with the truck, I think you had maybe mentioned something once before. Maybe you did just now and I wasn't listening because I was distracted. But with the truck, if you could incorporate a coil mech to that so that it shakes the truck when you hit a pothole to help like maybe potentially rattle some balls out of there. So, like, it's up to chance on whether they come out or not. Like, depending on how many potholes you hit or how many broken axles you have, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I really love that, especially if we incorporated a shaker motor and kind of shake the cab when you hit a pothole.
Gotta get that rumble.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep moving along here. Nick, was there any last things you wanted to say real quick?
No, let's pass it on to Alex. The truck's going to be cool, though. 3 coils minimum.
Perfect. Thanks, Nick. Alex, let's talk through your layout. You got a lot of lines here.
Yeah, that's how I've always approached laying stuff out. One second.
I like it.
One of the things that I actually did when I was first laying out Trogdor was I went through Pinside, I went through the top like 30 games that they had listed and took like the photos of the play fields for each of those games and just laid out where are the actual shot paths of everything, just to see sort of what does a game layout look like, how many shots does each flipper have, how many shots are like blocked by various things. So let me zoom in on my screen. So yeah, I don't know. I
direct me if you want me to zoom in somewhere.
Just both of them parallel is fine. So I was a right flipper kind of guy in my layout, and I sort of got into designing this a little bit after having already seen some of the layouts from last week and tried to incorporate some things there. But I think for me, that hero item was that disc spinner there. And so you can sort of see on the left layout there with all those paths, I really tried to make sure I could place it where there were things that would sort of block, where it would kind of get in the way. You might choose to spin it out of the way. There's like center through shots in both directions. But I really liked what I was seeing with the shooting star capture from a lot of people. And so I put that up at the top with sort of a skill shot where you could plunge, trying to, freeze the ball right over it or something. Or maybe you have an action button or a third flipper button where you're literally triggering it and the balls enter the orbit and you're trying to time a capture in a positive sense. But then I sort of thought about it and was like, well, once you've got a ball captured there, it's a captive ball, and maybe maybe shooting either orbit, like it's actually a blocker, so you can't shoot orbits anymore. You have to kind of bash the gates until you can knock it over and get your friend out. Or you could shoot straight through the spinner and have that sort of direct Newton action. But I think, there was one other thing that I had there, which some people were asking about, some of you guys, where on the left there's sort of that negative kickback there, and I don't know if it's really going to work. But I did a 3D print test to see the slope. So this is the thickness at some points of it. How do I get it on screen? Of a play field.
Hold on, let me switch you over.
Of a play field. Oh yeah, you gotta show me. Right.
There we go.
So I printed something that's the thickness of a play field with the slope of a play field when I set it down, and I printed sort of this cutout right here to see what the -7-degree slope would be like, and whether that would fall off too quickly, whether it could hold the ball. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to work with our design here, but it was just 3D printing lets you rapidly prototype little designs and things that you might come up with just to see if they have potential. I've got one other thing, which is if we go back to Nick's designs for the truck mech capture, and I gotta scroll myself over there as well. Looking at that top design, and we talked about, we've got the ball and it's, you've got the captive ball there, and then you have another one that you're staging and knocking through. Well, something that Anthony Van Winkle did in Mass Effect was he replaced one of the lanes in the, was it Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
He replaced one of the lanes with an open lane, but then it has this sort of two-prong capture. So you could have a ball staged there and then bash it from the front and then knock it up to the truck. Kind of action would be fun. And you drop it down and you clear it out. And it's kind of similar to the shooting star in that it's a couple of these posts getting lowered and raised. But, maybe we have two.
I think that's a cool idea on how you can put like a captive mech that doesn't take the position of a shot entirely either. Like you can still have flow when you want it, and you can still stop the game when you want to. I think that's cool.
Yeah, and you can you can even shoot through without locking it always.
That's a very interesting idea. I think we should try to find a way. I mean, my opinion, I think we should try to find a way to put that in. That'd be neat, because then that takes like one of our, even if it's not like Ernie's Newton mech, wherever that's going to be, we could still add this to another shot to make it feed the truck somehow. Like there's potential to put that in there. And again, kind of like, you know, in some of the Barrels of Fun games, how they take a shot and they turn it into something else. Like I'm a massive fan of doing that and getting rid of 100% predictability in the game. I like where they have like the lift ramps that have a scoop hidden behind it that shoots it back at you. That, to me, creates fun gameplay, and I think this would do something just like that too.
I think Aaron had his hand up.
I was just gonna say that fork mech, they have that in Labyrinth on the left orbit shot. That uses that effect there.
I like how you had to go walk over there and look at the game to make sure you weren't crazy.
No, I was trying to remember if it was also in Dune, but I don't think it is. Oh no, wait.
It is in Dune. It's in the fighter space. The little sand trap or whatever it is in the middle of the playfield to the right side.
You have all the cool games. I need to come to your house.
So,
dude, come anytime you want.
Alex, were there any other ideas you wanted to talk through on your layout here?
No, I think that we covered the sort of unique bits. I really did try to put together sort of stuff I'd seen from other layouts already, but I think Nick also put together some distillations down below. I don't know if we're going to look at those or go right to VPX.
We can go to the VPX for now.
Yeah, I think we should go to VPX. It's pretty sweet.
Okay. Yeah, so really quick, all we did was what Nick did was take all of these ideas from everybody's layout and try to create some sort of a distillation where different aspects of everything are incorporated into the layout. And so then from there, I took that and put that into Visual Pinball over the past few days. And then I think Ernie is going to screen share that in Teams.
You ready? You ready for me to share?
Yep, let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll get you set up here on the stream so people can see. Oh, and you're going ultra wide.
I can make it smaller if I need to, I think.
Maybe. I think it's good.
Yeah, should be good enough. People can see it, get the rough idea for it.
You
so we
ready?
Yep, go ahead and fire off. So on the right side there, and this may come through really choppy. At least it does on my end. But
I don't think it's coming through on the. Oh,
I see it
there,
for the
it's coming through
stream.
on it, yep. Okay. Yeah, it's really choppy. The YouTube stream's a few seconds behind.
Gotcha.
We're all just waiting for it to happen, and we're in this constant delay.
Again, guys, we're on a new collaboration tool. This is going to take a little bit to get right. This is much like pinball is not easy. Pinball streaming is not easy either. It will get better over time.
So when you launch, what is that little gray? Is that like a simulated one-way gate? So I see the ball goes through it, but then when it comes back,
it's a few ramps doubled up on each other. Do you want to describe the shots from like left to right really quick?
Yeah. So on the right side, so out of your shooter lane, what I have modeled up in VPX is 2 different drop points for a skill shot. So in the shooter lane, you have a ramp that kind of goes up and over, and then those ramps have cutouts. So if you partially plunge it, it'll drop down to that first gray block there, where we would have maybe an up post to stall the ball. Or you can just plunge it and let it flow through there. It doesn't really matter what we do with it, but that's an option. And then a little bit further up, you can see like another gray block that's got a little curve to it. And that is the other skill shot part of that, where if you partially plunge it, it'll roll back down that gray block, and then it stages itself behind a drop target on the right there. So that's where you could lock a ball in the hideout or what have you. And then for more skill shots, you can partially plunge it just enough to roll into the right orbit there and get it to drop down that center path, or you can do a full plunge where it goes all the way around to your upper left flipper, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different possible shots off of that flipper that can be comboed into a skill shot as well. So if you do the full plunge, and I guess I'll just describe this on as we're going through this so you can kind of follow along since it's a little choppy. if you get it up there to that left flipper on a full plunge, off of that left flipper, you have a few different shots. You have an inner orbit turnaround thing, is the best way I can describe that. And that's kind of like the most inside shot that you can hit off of that, and that's a self-feeding shot. So if you shoot that, it'll feed that flipper over and over again. Just to the right of that, you see like a little black circle. That is how VPX models kickback or saucers or anything like that. It's all modeled with a saucer or VUC, whatever, in VPX. So it looks like a circle, but that's where we would put the kickback coil. And obviously we'd have to maybe shift a little bit of this down depending on space constraints for the coil and the plunger. But that, when you shoot that, kicks it back down just below the upper left flipper and then feeds that power lane to your lower left flipper. So that one is completely unexpected when you hit that. And it rockets it back to your left flipper. Then to the right of that is a ramp. That is the right ramp that is both hittable from the upper left flipper and the lower left flipper. And right now I just have it modeled to feed back down to the left flipper. But wherever we have these ramps feed is up to debate. Then to the right of that is the right orbit. You can kind of hit that off of the upper left flipper, but that's more so a shot hittable off the lower left flipper. And then if we keep going right, that drop target I talked about earlier, that's what would be like the hideout or speakeasy, whatever we want to call it or integrate it, doesn't matter to me, but right now that's what I have in mind. And then when you shoot that, if the drop target's up, then you could maybe have a ball locked behind it from your skill shot. That's like maybe a little 2-ball multi-ball that you only get from a skill shot. Could be a thing. But when that drop target's down, you can shoot that shot. It'll feed your right flipper very fast, so it's kind of like another power lane integration. But we can also put like an up post back in there to stall the ball and maybe hold a ball back in the speakeasy. Yes, Moog.
So I was just thinking, maybe after like you get the truck multi-ball and the truck releases all the barrels of whiskey, that's like your jackpot shot, the speakeasy shot, and then you can hypothetically relock all 3 balls and get another multi-ball off of it.
I like that.
But like the jackpot shot back to the speakeasy makes sense because like you've got the barrels of whiskey, but now you got to get them home, right? Or depending on where our distillery is.
Yep.
Dude, I love that fish hook thing on the right. That shot from the left flipper to that kind of U-turn. That's really cool. Whoever did that, Kyle, if that was you, or that's really cool.
Yeah. It reminds me of the danger room with a little less danger.
Right.
It's the moderate danger room. It's the minor inconvenience room. Let's call it that. I'm not sure I like the spinner. Seems like it's kind of an island.
I added that in, so that's not something that has to be there.
Okay. Yeah, dude, the
I do want
inconvenience
spinners.
Yeah, I want a spinner somewhere, but I was just trying to think of a spot that maybe was a little bit different.
We can put spinners wherever we want. This is more so just testing flow and layout, really. So we can put spinners wherever we want.
Hey, where do you think the truck is going to go?
Above so in the upper left quadrant up there. So above that that left ramp, above the Newton, above the 3 drop targets there. That's where I would position the truck, and then we can shape that ramp however we want so that it doesn't interfere with the truck too much. Right now it just feeds back down to the right flipper really fast.
There's a lot of space in the back of a playfield, roughly 6 or 7 inches total height. So the truck is probably going to be like 4 inches total height, -1 if you pull it off the playfield. So we got some room back there to play around.
Yep. Yeah, and like we were talking with the Newton, we can do something with that Newton there where you actually capture a ball there and then knock it back in or something into
that would be really fun. Yeah. Say you make that inner orbit shot and it rolls back around and just drops behind that Newton would be super cool.
Yeah, and we can put a pancake magnet back there to grab it and drop it in there as well.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, one
Alex,
thing
you
for
have.
play.
Sorry.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. So I assume it's just because of VPX limitations. Like, are we still doing the disc and the
Yes.
shooting star?
Yeah, it's VPX limitations. Like,
Yeah.
this was the best that I could quickly model. I don't know if
sure.
there's horizontal spinning discs support in VPX, to be honest, without something super
No,
custom.
That's fine. I figure, like, even just for visualizing it, we could put just like an insert or something where that would be, and then maybe we could do like a magnet placement for the shooting star because it kind of has the same like capturing action.
Yeah.
That's a
Yep.
good idea.
I do
Maybe
think
we should.
Go ahead.
Maybe we can talk to Apophis a little bit, see if he can help us with some custom VPX to model this a little bit further, knowing that he's kind of the guy, or Borg.
That's
Yeah.
a good point. I was thinking maybe putting the spinning barrel mech in front of the shot for the truck to make it like, oh, you're if you hit the barrel, it's not quite a critical shot, but it could be kind of theme integrated.
Yeah, and so if we go back to like when I was talking about my layout, my thoughts for the spinning barrel mech would be kind of straight up the center in front of those 3 drop targets, like
Mhm.
in that little plaza there, where
Oh,
you
like
can
literally right there in the center. Okay, yeah,
You
I like
can-
that.
you can choose to position it to block whatever shots we want to like impede, but we can also keep it from blocking a bunch of shots.
Yeah, I kind of like that it blocks that center, like I'm gonna call it an orbit shot.
Yeah. So I'll continue talking through layout a little bit real quick. So back to that right side fishhook thing. There's 3 drop targets there right now. Those are kind of incidental, but they actually get hit quite a bit. Especially with the pop bumper being under the left sling. And then I think that's the right side, and then I'll kind of talk from the left side up. So on the left side, you have the power lane that feeds the lower left flipper. You have the pop bumper that's underneath the sling there, and then through the spinner shot is a ramp that's tucked behind the back or the upper flipper. Right now, it's just modeled this way so that it feeds again. But where my head was going with this is it would be like a little 180 ramp that flips it up to a wire form. And then in that wire form, you would have like Ernie's gas station or something like that, and an up post that can stall the ball there. And then that's where you could do your mode starts. And I know initially we had talked like maybe having a VUC or a scoop back there. And the reason why my head was going towards a 180 ramp with a wire form is because the VUC or scoop pauses the game like momentarily, even when you're not like qualified to mode start. No matter what, whenever you shoot it, it stops the game for a second to kick it back out. And if we have that shot be something where now we just stop it with a post on a wire form, now during normal play, that's a flowy shot. We stop it when we need to, but it's a flowy shot that feeds back to your lower left flipper or whatever. Jeff, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so we talked about the horizontal spinner being, where that is placed, and it being kind of a off-center barrel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about the other spinner kind of being an island here, what if we incorporated that spinner in a spinning spinner? So if the barrel's at a specific position, you can shoot through it. Kind of because it's at an angle, you could shoot through it, kind of incorporating both orientations of spinner into one Mech. So you've got a spinning spinner. I don't think I've ever seen that, and I think it would work.
Go.
Tony Hawk kind of does that.
Tony Hawk, yeah.
I was thinking the kicks, the skateboard mech for sure, but yeah, let's go. I'm all about it.
Oh,
It's
Led Zeppelin.
doable.
Really?
Well, it's
Led
the
Zeppelin
center
goes through
spinner
it and
thing.
comes up, but it doesn't spin
Yeah.
horizontally.
No.
On Led
I
Zeppelin.
was commenting about the YouTube comment.
Oh.
Led
That was-
Zeppelin,
that was from
arguably
Nick.
one of the worst Sterns of all time.
Okay.
Ever.
So
It sucks.
just to continue along, walking through the layout really quick, the left orbit right now, currently I have that so it feeds right into the pop bumper on the left, so that it's a risky shot, but like when you hit that clean, it really creates some fun interaction with that pop bumper, as opposed to having like a predictable feed to a flipper. I think that could be a fun way to integrate that pop bumper a little bit more and create a little bit of tension. I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
That's fine. I guess feeding to the flipper or the pop bumper, either way.
I would prefer to feed to the flipper, but I'm cool either way. I just think orbit should always go back to a flipper somehow.
Lame. Boring. To get that to do
Yeah, I
that
mean-
might require some changes to the fishhook geometry on the right.
Okay.
Just something to think about because of where that shot entrance is. Aaron, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I was making some arts and crafts over here. I don't know if this fits into what you guys are talking about specifically, but talking about changing where some of that stuff moves. Alex said something earlier with like the way that the shooting star thing comes up and grabs the ball, then balls can hit it. You know, I thought like, what if because we have to make that thing? That's not like an off-the-shelf part, you know. I thought, what if that thing came up like this? It was like kind of this gull wing looking thing, and it trapped the ball behind it, but then it turned the orbit into two shorter orbits that like came and went around, you know. So like when this is up, it can catch a ball, you know. It's basically sitting behind it, and the back of the orbit's here. But the other effect is that it can change the way the orbit balls roll.
Kind of like the shield mech in D&D, but for offense instead of defense.
I
Yeah.
made this drawing to help articulate my point. So something like this, because I think that like that solenoid going up, it's a dual winding, goes up with the main winding and then will hold the hold. But the idea that it could hold the ball right in that spot and then ultimately release it. But man, I think changing these two angles here would be a really fun, like, okay, they got the ball. Now we got to like try and like get away. And if you shoot those shots, it's like you're there to get out. If you do those two shots, then it releases the ball and it can go away. I think we
Okay.
could get a real like string together set of events that could be really satisfying to like get your buddy out, do like 2 or 3 of these shots or something, and then it releases them.
Aaron, hear me
You know,
out.
Yeah, what do you got?
We do that right above the center ramp, and then to
Okay.
the left of the center ramp is the Newton ball shot. You make that shot and it falls behind the Newton, but if you make the right orbit, it falls back through that center orbit shot. That would work really well. I like that there.
I like that too, Aaron. It still plays on the mech magic, right?
Right.
It's something you
it-
don't expect. But it also doesn't mean we still can't capture the ball.
Yeah, it
You
would
can
be
still
behind
do
it.
what you're saying,
Yeah.
but still capture the ball in the center.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just adds to the magic in my point of view. I really like that a lot.
Yeah,
So I never
and-
thought of like a ball hitting those cages because it only holds it long enough to then let it go. But if we've got all the control of getting that up there, I really think and the thing is too is like it could be so smooth. Like if you have a shot going up there and it's like you're chasing, I mean, we could have a setup where, you know, you're being chased, right? So one ball goes through there and you're hiding out. The next ball goes right by. Oh, where'd they go? You know? I mean, we could really string together like some stories where it's not like we were saying before, not always jail. It's like evading, capturing. Like I think this could be really fun. So good idea, Alex.
Agreed. Yeah. Alex, you have your hand up?
So yeah, that's really cool and innovative, and your idea, Aaron, and it reminds me of something that Lynn showed me at the very end, I think, of Expo, where there was this game X-Force that has a kickback in the left out lane, and it has a similarly shaped sort of 2 curve like point that it has to drop so that the kickback can go over it, but it doesn't have any sort of ball capturing. So that's That's a really cool combination idea.
Let's
But
innovate.
I'll send a photo to the group later of what I'm talking about.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Cool.
I love this. Let's do it.
Perfect. Okay. So I think we're getting a little bit close to time here. I kind of walked through what I mocked up in Visual Pinball. Team, if you guys want to download it, it's in our Discord. If you guys want to play around with it a little bit, VPX is a little bit of a pain to set up, but let me know if you need direction. It really gives you a good feel for the layout, so if you can, hop in, mess around, and then if there's something you don't like, give the feedback in Discord. Something you do like, then send me $20. Cool.
No.
All right. So with that, round table, let's do that for just a quick 2 minutes. Anyone have anything they want to interject?
I think that we're on a good path. It seems like a lot of our ideas have been integrated into this playfield design. I know we're gonna start putting our whitewood together soon, so we're kind of trying to get it all together pretty quick here.
Yeah, the goal
I like
would
this
be
format.
trying to do a whitewood next stream, but it's kind of dependent on how quickly I can clean up my garage and how quickly I can get stuff ordered from Pinball Life.
Pinball Life ships like next day.
My garage is clean. I can order tomorrow.
And from Fast Pinball, I need to order some stuff through Aaron.
Yeah, I got 3 giant boxes my way.
I've got you covered,
Pinball Life.
Kyle. I have everything we need from
Okay.
Fast.
Okay. So we can
So
plan on next Monday then doing the whitewood drilling holes and seeing what happens. And before then I'll try to have just flippers in place so we can bolt stuff down and move rails and that kind of stuff.
I'll do a quick parting shot and I'll shut up. The most exciting thing I think to me about not only this call but this journey is that this game is going to happen, right? Look at the people on the call. I'm looking at the cabinet right now, so I can't wait to flip this thing. I'm just super excited to be part of it. And for everybody who's involved, you can see kind of the different thought processes. There's no particular way to do it, but man, this is going to happen, right? And that's what's super cool for me.
I like what we're doing right now too. Is it's like sitting in front of Mira the other day. I was just like, this is not. I can't. I'm learning UI when I want to be creative. It's like taking away 4 of my fingers and telling me to paint. I would get there and it would look good, but I think that like this process of like getting a bunch down and then like iterating on it in real time, discussing this has been fantastic. Like I really do love the idea of like an idea that as we're watching, I'm wandering around the shop here looking for pieces and parts. Because an idea gets planted and be like, I wonder if we can make that kind of thing fit. Like, that's what I love most about collaborating. And that's what I'm most excited about here. I'm not going to sleep all night tonight. And maybe the steroids I'm on for a chest cold, but like, I don't know. I'm like wound up now. But I really do love the idea. Like Kyle said too, is like, we're going to come up with these ideas. We're going to narrow this down and then we're going to absolutely do it. Like, this is not just some big fun idea that's going to fizzle out. Like, there's enough accountability here. Like, this is rad. This is so cool.
Agreed. Jeff, go ahead.
yeah, and kind of piggybacking on Aaron there, this is one of those things that's going to happen with or without support, but we appreciate your support. So by all means, if you have the means, hop into Patreon, support us, hop into PayPal, support us. We appreciate everything that happens. We have some cool things kind of in the background happening that may make their way to you. We have some different merch that we're toying with, hitting the laser, hitting the CNC, trying other things. So, we don't need your support, but we love your support. So everything that you do helps us, helps this journey. Helps us continue to make cool things. So this pinball will happen, but if you want to be a part of it, we appreciate that greatly.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off that, we do have different ways that you can support us through either PayPal or Patreon if you feel so inclined. Like Jeff said, that is not a requirement by any means. The whole concept of this is open source pinball for the community, by the community. We're the community bringing this to you. You're the community getting involved in this, engaging in conversation, throwing ideas out there, joining our Discord, following our videos, commenting in the videos, being engaged in chat, like interacting and giving us your thoughts on our ideas is what makes this a machine built for the community, by the community. We're just the 7 dum-dums who have a little bit of homebrew experience, but we couldn't do any of this without the support of amazing people in the community who really want to see this happen as much as we do. And part of that, too, is support from the artists in the community. We want someone to be part of this journey with us who believes in this project, who believes in making this thing become a reality for the community. We've gotten some great submissions already, and I know there's a few out there still who are working diligently on creating their submissions. But if you do have interest in being part of this project and being involved in the design of the art, putting, you know, your vision to life with Bootlegger's Journey, go out to pinforgepinball.com. At the top, there are 2 tabs. One, call for artist, which is where you can read the requirements for submission. And then there's another one that is, I think, the story or something like that, or Bootleggers, that tells the story of Bootleggers that we're trying to capture with the art. So please go out to the website if you have any interest in being part of this, seeing your art come to life on this community machine. Again, we'll work with you on compensation. We're not expecting any of this to be free, but we do have limited budget because this is our own money. We're volunteering our time and dollars to make this happen. So be mindful of that. Really want to see someone be part of this journey with us from an art standpoint, also from a audio visual standpoint. So if there's other people who feel so inclined to throw ideas at us with sound samples and things like that, join our Discord, engage in chat with the team here. We are happy to take those chats and see what your contributions might be. Other than that, join the Patreon, gets you access to be part of this build, especially at Tier 3. You can be immortalized in this game as a character. So something there, it's not instant. Like, you don't just buy a Tier 3 Patreon for 1 month and you're in. That's actually like, you've been a supporter for a while. We get you in the game. We work with you on that, whether it's in a video mode or on the physical art. So a lot of cool things coming with Patreon and what we want to do for merch and things like that. So please stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. If there's any thing else that you guys want to contribute, join our Discord, chat with us. We're all there. Thank you for being with us. I don't remember our stupid catchphrase when we build something together.
When we build together, we forge together.
We forge what's next.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Cheers. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions.
When we drink together, no one remembers.
I just want to play the game.
Fuck yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to switch us off here, and then hold on a second while I switch audio over.
That was a really good stream. And you guys have said that a couple times.
Awesome.
Nice job. Nice job, you guys.
I feel like we really